Are you considering freelancing in instructional design and learning and development? Are you considering that jump now that you've got some of that work from home, make your own hours type life? Well, in today's video, I'm going to give you some questions to really think about whether or not you really want to freelance. Hi friends, I'm Vanessa Alzate, and on this channel I help aspiring instructional designers and e-learning developers get off of the sidelines and get into the L&D game. And today I'm going to talk to you all about freelancing and just really what you have to think about when you are considering making this jump. Freelancing is not for everyone. It is a grind, and as much as I know there's this movement against grinds and hustle culture, there still needs to be grind and hustle behind freelancing and being your own boss. And I know for so many people, they don't really think of freelancing as being their own boss or having a business. They see it as just doing their own thing, but it really is a business. You're in the business of you. So here are some things that you're gonna wanna consider. And first things first is the grind and hustle life for you? It's not always going to be grind and hustle, but there are going to be times that you need to have that kind of mentality and that thought. Because as a freelancer, you have to find your own food, right? You actually have to do the whole thing where you hunt the food, you kill it, you eat it, and then you have to clean it all up and do it again. So that's a lot of steps and a lot of pieces of the process that you may or may not want to be part of. And there's ways to get around some of it, but really, you are the business, right? It's all you. So there does need to be some hustle and some grind and really thinking about where's your next project going to be coming from? Is it going to be coming from a subcontracting agency, or is it going to be coming from a direct client? And just making sure that you're out there and you're networking and all of that. So it is a lot to consider, but I like that. I thrive on the hunt. I thrive on building a business. So for me, it's worth it, but I could see how someone might just not want that. They might not want that for their life. I also want you to consider or think about your mindset. What are some limiting beliefs that you might have, and how are you with imposter syndrome? Mindset is everything, and I've been doing a lot of work this year really making sure that I'm shifting my mindset and thinking about putting out there what I want and really making it very well known and talking about it. And understanding what my limiting beliefs are when I'm getting scared. I mean, just because I've done all this work with mindset and stuff like that doesn't mean that I don't still have times that there are limiting beliefs. So really think about, what are your limiting beliefs? Do you think that money is hard to come by? Do you think projects are hard to come by? Are you can you see yourself becoming scared to dive into this whole new career? And I think that there's always going to be some fear because it is a scary thing and it's a different thing. But it's definitely something that you can put to the side and really live from a more positive mindset to help manifest and build the freelance career that you want and that you deserve. So another thing to consider is what kind of savings do you have? I do not recommend that you just jump into freelancing without having savings, a small book of business, prior experience in freelancing. I think that you should dip your toe in, try it a little bit, maybe pick up a client or a project on the side here or there, and then build up that savings to open up your agency or start your freelancing career. There is ebbs and flows in freelancing. There will be months that you're crazy busy and you're gonna, have a ton of money coming in, and there's gonna be months where there's not. Or there's gonna be times that you are super busy and then you're chasing people for payment. And so having that savings, that safety net, 6 months to a year worth of savings, it really helps to give you that runway so that you're making this decision from a place of not being fearful, able to take the projects that you want to take on and not just taking anything and everything because you don't know where your next paycheck is going to be coming from and you need it in order to, pay your rent or whatever. Think about the network that you have. One of the things, if you start freelancing or you want to start freelancing, is tell everybody. And that was a misstep that I took in the beginning of my career. I don't know why. I don't know. I guess I felt weird of how people were going to perceive me, and people, I don't know, like maybe making fun of me or something. And so I just never really talked about what I do, and that I'm doing it on my own. So if you are able to, definitely make sure you're reaching out to your network, telling friends, family, connecting with people on LinkedIn and really starting to build that network before you start freelancing, so that you have the ability to try to get referrals and things like that through friends, family, and your network. So really start building that, and making sure that you're staying connected, whether it's LinkedIn or otherwise, with past colleagues and things like that, past vendors that you've worked with at prior companies. Those are all people that eventually could turn into clients or know someone who could turn into clients. Do you have your own brand, or at least the type of brand that you want to put out there? And I'm very big on personal branding. I talk a lot about it. I've talked to Dr. Robin Sargent on her Idols podcast about it. I've talked about it for Boise State's master's program. I've done a talk about it for Metro DC's ATD conference. And I really think that you need to know who you are, your learning philosophy, your brand, so that you're really putting out there something that's solid, and you are making yourself memorable. A lot of the freelance game is trying to figure out ways to make yourself memorable in a not gimmicky way. Your work is definitely most important, and making sure that speaks for itself, but also making sure that your brand and how people speak about you when you leave the room is exactly what you want it to be. So thinking about your brand and how you want to put yourself out there and where you want to put yourself out there is really important as you start to step into freelancing, because you don't want to think about it a lot later like I did, because then you're playing catch up from the beginning of your career. And on that note, I will also say I don't necessarily think that it's a necessity to have your brand. I obviously did very well freelancing and built up a career, a full-time freelancing gig before I opened up Anchor Training in 2018, and left my full-time job. But that is because of the network that I had and reaching out to a prior vendor that I became very friendly with and working with them on their e-learning. And I eventually basically built that entire department. And so that is a rare case, but you definitely want to make sure you know your brand and you're putting yourself out there in order to continue to get those referrals and continue to get work. Have you thought about, what your sales process is going to be or how you're going to build up your pipeline? Like I said, so much of freelancing is figuring out where your next project is going to come from, be it direct or through another agency that subcontracts work out. So really thinking about building up that sales process and what you will talk about with people when you're on a sales call and how you present yourself and, your whole PowerPoint and all of those things. What is your presentation, right? And then thinking about how to build that pipeline, because I've noticed with a lot of freelancers, we all get so busy in the work that we start ignoring the pipeline, and then all of a sudden those projects are done and you have nothing left from the pipeline because you were not working on building that business and continuing to generate those leads. So really making sure that you narrow that down, or start just thinking about it and put something into place so that you're not always playing catch up on the months that you're not so busy. Really think about, are you okay being lonely? It's lonely here. I am now here by myself. Just me and my dog until my operations manager gets here, probably in a few minutes. But really, freelancing when you first start out, it's just you behind your computer just doing your work. No coworkers to talk to, and really think about that life. You're working from home, unless you end up going to a co-working space or, rent your own place, which most freelancers, especially in the beginning, don't typically do. It's lonely. So really thinking about, are you okay with that? Are you something that needs and thrives on being around people? Well, if that's the case, freelancing might not be the best for you. Or you might want to take make some changes like renting a co-working space rather than working from your home, so that you do have that hustle and bustle around you, and you can build that community to help you. But definitely also consider, joining networking groups, joining Slack groups, Facebook communities. We have the Freelance Learning and Development Network. We'll be your friends. We'll be your coworkers. We'll bounce ideas off of each other. We'll help you when you are struggling with something and help give you ideas and things like that. So definitely want to make sure that you connect with the group. And if I may plug the Freelance Learning and Development Network again, the link to join is down in the description bar. I think something that we don't talk about is that sometimes you're going to be completely fulfilled by the work that you're doing, and other times you're going to be disenchanted. So just know that when you start freelancing, it's not going to be the idealistic, like pie in the sky, everything's amazing, everything's perfect, and every project is amazing and fulfilling. There are going to be times that they're just not. And there are going to be projects that start out like amazing and fulfilling that turn because of issues with clients and things like that. So just knowing that at times, it's not going to be this like perfect scenario all the time. There's going to be times that you're going to work on stuff that you're like, why am I even doing this right now? It sucks. And then last thing is, are you okay? Like, think about, are you okay and willing to have tough conversations? Like I mentioned earlier, you are going to have to chase clients sometimes for payments. You're going to have tough conversations with clients, deal with rejection and criticism and not always constructive feedback. And you have to have that tough skin to be able to take that, or have a way to, make sure that you're managing your mental health, make sure you are working on all of those pieces, and have a place to decompress and process in order to continue to move forward. It can be tough at times. And I want to make sure that if you want to go into freelancing, that it's something that you really think about and consider. And I know that some of these questions may sound negative, but I have to say, I loved freelancing. I mean, I still freelance by my business, but I love it. I think it's an amazing opportunity to be your own boss, build your own business, have that flexibility. I chose it so that I was home more with my kids and my family. So really thinking about that sort of life helped push me through some of that negativity, or those like times that things were not always so perfect. So I really think that you should consider it, but take your time and really consider your lifestyle, where you are in your life now, where you plan to be in the future, and how you get there, and really think about a process, and really map it out, and don't just jump in and be like, I'm gonna freelance today, woo, and have no savings, no jobs, no nothing. So with that, I am now opening up strategy sessions, so 30-minute free sessions to talk about your road into instructional design and freelancing. And I will leave the link for you to schedule that 30-minute free session. We'll talk about instructional design and freelancing if it's for you. And then I'll give you a quick roadmap of some steps that you can take in order to jump into freelancing. Friends, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.